All right, so today we'll start our prep on the Panthers. I say obviously this is a good team. They've got a lot of talent team, but they play really as a cohesive unit on all three sides of the ball. You know, Matt does a good job really organizing all three sides in terms of the theme of how they want to play. I'd say offensively, you know, Darnold's doing a really good job being productive in the pass game as well as using his legs to extend plays. They got very talented receivers who are always a shot threat. They're very good in situations. I think Joe Brady does a really good job of mixing up what they're going to do and using the information he can gather pre-snap from you to go ahead and take advantage of what you give them. You know, on the defensive side, you know, Snow does a great job. You know, he really gets after you. They play very fast up the field. The defensive front, they're one of the best in the league. You know, there's a lot of speed on the second level with the linebackers and defensive backs, very opportunistic to make plays, you know, if you can get disrupted. And the kicking game, Chase does a great job of really having his players play the way he plays as a player, and that's size, speed, and very aggressive. They've been making plays by just playing through blocks, blocking punts, being very disruptive on the field goal protection, and they're going to give us a lot of things to prepare for this week. So that being said, I'll open up to any questions you have.
Joe, what did you see from your guys coming back this morning when you met with them about whether it's focus or what's the mood for these guys?
Yeah, they're in focus, ready to go, ready to practice. We got in here today, had a couple days of rest. We got here today, put the pads on, start going at it. But yeah, good focus in the meetings this morning. Kind of moved quickly through some meetings this morning in terms of kind of changing the page on a couple things. We'll get into the Panthers as well, and we'll come back this afternoon and do a little bit more.
Joe, how much of a blow is it to lose Andrew for, you know, at least 3 games? You know, he was playing well, and, you know, more shuffling on the line that's been shuffled so much.
Well, first off, it's our job to have all the players prepared. It's their job to be prepared and go out there and be productive. You don't want to lose any player. I think Andrew's done a really good job, obviously, you know, going through some stuff in the off season, coming back, you know, played very well. Has been improving as a player throughout his career for us. He's a guy on the offensive line we have a lot of confidence in as a player. He prepares extremely well and does a good job coming ready to go every day. But, you know, we're confident in, you know, Matt, Nate, and Cunningham getting out there and playing for us as well.
Would you agree that when he was playing well, you know, earlier this year, that you were able to slide, you know, things to the other side because you were confident that Andrew could take care of his side by himself?
Well, we've done that both ways. We've had schemes where we've helped our tackles. We have schemes we put them on an island. You know, we're pleased with the way these guys have improved going throughout. I was pleased with the way Andrew played, you know, when he was healthy.
What's the plan for a bunch of these injured weapons? You know, Saquon, Kenny, I guess Darius, Kadarius.
All right, so Darius will be out here with us today. KT, we'll see where he's going to be. He's going to start the trainers. We'll see how that goes today and see how it leads into going towards tomorrow. Much the same with Saquon and Galladay. You know, we'll see where they are. We're not going to plan on those guys doing a whole lot with us today, kind of more see how they get out today, the trainers, or what tomorrow looks like for them right there. So no kind of hard timelines, and no one really being eliminated at this point right yet.
Do you know who's going to play left and right tackle?
You'll see all 3 tackles play this week. All right, and I would expect all of our guys to play both right and left. That's how we're going to practice and prepare them this week. But you'll see Nate, Matt, and Cunningham out there.
Joe, I know, I mean, obviously Andrews was in and out with his injury, but with him being out now, how does that impact some of the game planning just offensively because of what you lose?
I lost the first. Is that Andrew you're asking about?
About Tanner Thompson.
We're going to game plan the same way we always do. You know, and you've got to take into account who you're playing against and whether Andrew's playing or not playing. You got to look at this front. There's a lot of speed off the edge. You've got to account for how they play. They're very disruptive. They get up the field. They do such a good job on early downs because that speed really coming up the field, and the speed on the second level with the backers really scraping over the top. They really disrupt your run lanes. They get after you early in the pass, and they really do a great job of getting you in the second and long, which leads to third and long. That's how they play very well. But in terms of, you know, Andrew being in or out, we have to game plan the same way to account for that speed coming off the edge with our tackles.
So you look at these 2 teams, right? You know, Saquon, Christian McCaffrey's obviously super talented players, right? How hard is it, because that position is so tough, right? I mean, there are a lot of injuries, the rate of injury is higher. How hard is it to build a team and an offense around a running back these days because of that limitation?
That's a pretty big article question right there, Jordan. I'd say, look, obviously those 2 are very, very talented players, and when they're on the field, they bring a whole lot to a team. You know, offensively, obviously, when you have players like that on offense, they help your defense as well because you're normally moving the ball, and even when you have to punt it, you're normally punting from better field position, which helps your defense play on a longer field. You know, with both those guys, you know, the threat of the run and the pass game is very, very real. You know, and I'm not going to speak for Matt's team, I'm not going to speak for the Panthers, but, you know, guys just have to step up, and guys have to make plays, and we have a lot of talent on our roster. I think, you know, Booker did a lot of good things for us. You know, now him and Saquon are different players. That's not positive or negative. We talk to our players all the time. You have to know who you are as a player to understand how you have to play, and we have to understand who our players as coaches, understand how to use them. So we're going to use whoever we have available to us to make plays. I'm pleased with the progress. Devontae, Eli, Gary, those guys have all made. look, we're waiting on Saquon to get healthy. I know he's working hard with the trainers right now. We'll see where he is going through the rest of this week. Obviously want to have him back as soon as possible. He's a guy that made an impact for us, will continue to make an impact for us as a leader and a player on the field.
Obviously, it's not a knock on Devontae, but how much do you really have to change stuff when you have a healthy Saquon there and when you don't?
Well, some of the run game, you're going to try to call runs that are more favorable to that back. So if you look at Devontae, he's had success in some zone schemes, but there's also a lot of things he does in some of the gap schemes with pin and poles, where he can stick his foot in the ground and get vertical down the field. He does very well. Kind of more run to his size and one-cut type ability. Saquon can do all those same runs. Saquon also has, I think, a natural instinct of some of the zone runs with the fold and the cutbacks. They can do it. Both guys have very good hands in space. You see Book every game make some kind of a tough catch, even just on a check down or whatever it is. So we have confidence in both guys as receivers. Now you're going to do the same type of routes with both guys. You can. Doesn't mean you're always going to game plan based on who you're playing and what you think the favorable matchup is there. We have confidence in all those guys going out wide, but are there different wrinkles you're going to do with different players? Yeah, absolutely.
Joe, do your edge rushers have another gear that they can reach, like effort-wise, energy-wise, to get to the quarterback?
I don't see any issue with their effort right now, Pat. So are we going to do things to try to help our edge rushers in different schemes? Absolutely. Are there things that have to come together, all 11 on the field, so everyone's productive? To me, it's always, the pass rush always starts with the coverage, and the coverage is aided by the pass rush. They got to work off each other. If one's lacking, the other one has no chance of getting there. So to me, in terms of how the edge rushers are playing, I'm pleased with their effort. They got to keep making progress. There's a lot of things we got to do better as a team. But in terms of those guys being productive, we got to help them a little bit as coaches, and we got to make sure they make the plays when they come their way.
Joe, was there any thought, or is there still any thought to putting Tony on IR, or do you feel like he'll be back for a 3-game window?
We haven't any conversations that would lead to anything with IR with Tony right now, no.
What can Aaron Robinson bring to the secondary whenever he does come back, whether that's this week or in the coming weeks?
We're about to see. He'll be out there today at practice with us, and we'll see how he moves around. We haven't really had an opportunity to see this guy going full tilt since he's been here. So, look, we're looking forward to getting him and Ellerson out there and give him a chance to get work with the team.
Joe, in your mind, is there a timetable for them that you say, okay, now they're starting, so their clock starts? Or do you think because they've been in your program this whole time that it might not take as long as someone from outside the building to hit the practice field and contribute?
I'd say for two young guys especially, I think there's a difference. You talk about an older guy, and I'm just going to use a name for being an older guy in the league, a guy like a Kyle Rudolph, who missed a large part of training camp. But his experience, his knowledge, his ability to kind of get more mental reps, get ready, his ability to step in that early and be able to play within the system and become productive as he played is different to me than a rookie, who the reality is they haven't played preseason games, they haven't scrimmaged against another team, they haven't really had full contact practices at this point. So they've been in the meetings, they've done a good job mentally staying caught up and within the game plan. They've done a really good job within our program, everything we asked them to do. But the reality is they've got to get out here and start playing football. And I don't have an immediate timetable. Look, if you say within the structure of the rules, could it be this week? It could. Be completely transparent with you. For both guys who haven't gone through really training camp, preseason games, all that stuff, I'd find it hard to believe for any rookie to come back that fast and just go ahead and jump right back in. Even last year, when Zay came back off the injury, missing a chunk of the season, he at least had some of preseason or some of the training camp part of it. And then as he stayed into it, we had to phase him in throughout the year. Remember, when he first came back, those first few games, we say he's going to be kind of small parts to kind of build him up. You're not going to take him just throw him out there for a full tilt game right away.
Joe, when you started earlier today, you said you're going to change the pace of some things. I mean, what are you talking about in particular? How long you stay on a certain drill or something?
I said the page. We were changing the page on some things in the meetings. Yeah.
Coach,
What are you seeing from Sam Darnold and the way he's running Brady's offense?
Yeah, I think he's very productive. I think he's a big, strong quarterback. He's got a big arm. He's very aggressive with a lot of throws. You can't forget about this guy's legs. It's the one thing you see a lot of teams right now, they're dropping either in the zone or letting the man kind of carry him out of it. And he does a good job of keeping his eyes downfield. When he sees an opportunity, he pulls and runs. He's smart with running the ball. He's productive. He gets down. He's good in the low red area as far as getting that thing in the end zone as a runner with his legs. I mean, he's a talented quarterback. And they got a lot of weapons. He's going to find a way to get the ball around.
Joe, how do you look at injuries? If my memory is correct, and you'll know better than I feel like you had fewer injuries last year maybe than this year, and I know Saquon was gone that year. But do you look at injuries as like a luck of the draw thing? Is it that no one can control? Or do you think there are some ways that you can help to minimize injuries?
I think there's certain injuries that you can help to minimize through the physical conditioning and preparation, and there's other things that we've really seen within the games, to be honest with you, that they're just sometimes unavoidable. and sometimes they're pretty, traumatic injuries. There's nothing really Nick Gates could have done differently than to avoid his injury. There's nothing you could have done to really prepare him to avoid that injury. That's just the reality of it. C.J. Board the other day with the forearm. There's certain things you can't really avoid. You don't want to see any of your players get hurt. You don't see any player get hurt. In terms of the injuries, unfortunately, it's part of the game, but it's part of the game we all sign up. You know what I mean? And it's our job to prepare every player. It's every player's job to be ready to produce. So we have that next man up mentality. Not because we're trying to push anybody out of the way, but when something happens, we got to keep moving forward. That game's going to be played either way.
Joe, how do you make sure that their confidence does not?
Let me finish Kim's right quick, please.
I was just going to say, I forgot what I was going to say actually now.
Sorry about that.
I'll come, if you think about it, I'll come back to Kim.
Sorry about that, Kim. How do you make sure that the confidence of your players does not sag?
You prepare them. Confidence comes from practice execution. So we get our guys ready to go on the practice field, we correct the mistakes, we show them what they're doing well, and we keep moving forward.
How is their confidence level from what you can tell?
They came in there today with a good attitude, they're focused, ready to go. We'll see them on the field today. I see a team that works hard.
Last one. Yeah.
Anything from how's Isaiah looking? You have a first round tackle on your practice squad. A little light on tackle. Is he coming along to the point?
He's making progress for us. He's doing a good job working right now. He spent a lot of time with our strength and conditioning, trainers. He's getting caught up in our schemes and systems. I'd say he's a hard worker. He's a smart guy. So he's got a little ways to go, but he's doing a good job right now working. He actually won't be out of practice today. He's got a non-football related deal today. Just a bug to keep him out of the building. Nothing football related, nothing serious. So.
All right, Coach.
He's got like a bug. He's sick. He's sick. Yeah, we're keeping him out of the building. You know what I mean?